Voltron Legendary Defender Season 7. So this was quick. Usually we have to wait a long time for a new season of Voltron, but this seems like, I think it was 3 months since the last season. So anyway, spoilers for the last seasons if you haven't watched them. If you haven't watched them, go watch them. The show is fantastic. So in the last season, Lotor was working with the Paladins. He was seemingly a good guy, and he was trying to find a way to create infinite quintessences. And spoilers, he's a bad guy. So he secretly kept captive all these Alteans, and they pretty much started worshipping him. And this got out to the Paladins, so the Paladins started fighting Lotor, and they went into a quantum world full of quintessence, and they battled there, and they ended up trapping Lotor there. And during their battle, Lotor ripped a lot of holes between the universes, or the quantum realm, and their universe. So they decided to explode the Castle of White Lions to contain this rip that was gonna practically destroy the galaxy, the universe, whatever. So at the end of last season, they don't have the White Castle anymore, and they're going to Earth to get the plans to try to build a new one. So this is where we start off. And I have to say, the last season I really loved. It's my favorite season. This season starts off a lot slower. The Paladins are in a rough position. You know, they lost the Castle of Lions. They can't get a hold of their allies. And the Lions are really beat up and weak on energy. And it's going to take them a year and a half to get to Earth. So it starts off really slow with them traveling through space trying to get to Earth. And it isn't until about halfway until they actually make it to Earth and find out a bunch of new information. Like, I don't want to spoil this season. I'm going to talk about all that stuff in the spoiler section. I have to say, this season I enjoyed. The show is always good. I didn't enjoy it as much as the last season or some of the other seasons, but it was definitely good. Like I said, the first half is just really slow, which is a good thing. They didn't cut the season in half, because usually they cut the seasons in half. So you'll have one seasons of 6 and one 7 episode seasons, but this was a full 13 episode season, which worked to its advantage, because if it was just the first half of this season, I probably wouldn't have liked it that much. There were some good episodes in the first few 6 episodes, some developments, especially for Keith and Shiro, and some good fun episodes, and development for all the characters coming together, which we've kind of seen in the past before, so it wasn't really a huge thing. But there was definitely a lot of flaws in this season, and it had me questioning a lot of things. I think they kind of depended on too much on, oh, it's magic, you know, because they sometimes use that and like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. It's like, well, it's kind of like magic. You just kind of don't understand it. It just kind of works. I felt they used that a few too many times this season, but I think that was just me overanalyzing. But overall, like I said, I enjoyed this season. It was really fun. Voltron is always good. The animation is always stellar. The writing is always good. A few flaws that I know some people got angry with. But overall, it's a good season. I give it a 7 out of 10. Whoa, yeah, 7 out of 10. Overall for the season. It's good, it's solid, it's fun. If you've enjoyed the show up to now, you'll enjoy this. There's some cool stuff towards the end of the season that I really loved. So let's get into spoilers. So, warning, spoilers for this season, Season 7. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers, you've been warned. Get out of here if you don't want to get it spoiled. So, like I said, at the beginning of this season, they lost the White Castle and they're heading to Earth. And they're slowly traveling there because, you know, the Lions are really beat up and they don't have the Castle of White Lions, which they usually use as transport to get around the universe. And eventually around Season 6, the Lions completely lose power for some reason, and the Paladins get stuck outside of their Lions. And eventually they come together and they power up the Lions through their force of will, I guess you can say, which they've done in the past before. And the Lions come and save them, and they somehow use this weird galaxy rift, I forget what it was, to travel to Earth. So it spares them the year-and-a-half journey. So they get to Earth, and they're on their way. And as they're going there, Pidge tries to contact her dad, but she gets a message saying, you know, this is a warning for everyone. The Gara have invaded Earth. Most of the civilians on Earth have been captured, and there's only a small force fighting against them. You know, if you get this message, contact Voltron. So, you know, what ended up happening when they use the Castle White Lines to plug up those barrier reaches, those holes that I was talking about in the beginning. It somehow sent them 3 years into the future. So they've been missing for 3 years. So a lot of their allies and everything, why they weren't contacting them is because they were gone. Like, the Blade of Amora was pretty much annihilated except for the leader and a few stragglers around. But they were pretty much all killed off. A lot of their forces were destroyed or disbanded because of the Gara remnants attacking all throughout the universe and everything like that. So when they get to Earth, Earth has started using the technology to create weapons and everything, but the Gara get there and they pretty much conquer the entire planet. They destroy cities, they enslave all the population, and there's just one little fortress that's up against them. So Voltron and the Paladins get there, and they go to Earth without the Lions using a ship they captured, and they pretty much help the remaining people there. So they create or help power up a new spaceship called the Atlas, which is really amazing, and they come up with a plan to destroy these giant cannons that are going to destroy the Earth. So that's pretty much the end of the season. They start going to destroy these things and trying to beat General Sendak, which they finally beat Sendak, which I'm kind of happy about because he's been a bad guy since like I want to say the first episode, and he survived Zarkon and Lotor, which I do think Lotor's still alive, but I'll get to that. But yeah, they beat General Sendak and they saved the day. But in the last episode, after they beat all the Gara forces and save Earth, this giant robot, or Robeast, I don't know what you can call it, just robot I guess, comes and attacks them, and it's very, very powerful. It's like just jacking up Voltron and the Atlas. Like, they can do nothing to beat this thing. And it gets to the point where even the Atlas transforms into a giant, awesome robot. Like, this thing is gigantic, and like, he comes down with a giant fist and just barely misses this robot that is attacking them. But eventually they end up defeating it. It explodes, and all the season ends with all their allies coming to Earth and them making Earth into this beacon of hope and trying to rebuild the universe and everything like that. And the last episode for the season ends where they're like, they've been gathering the pieces of that giant robot, and they're like, we haven't been able to find the power source, and they find it, and it's an Altan, which is very surprising. That's one of the things that surprised me, and that the Atlas transformed into a giant robot. Those two things I did not see coming. So, with the Altan powering this robot, it tells me two things. Lotor is alive, and he's probably working with Haggard. I mean, come on. I definitely think Lotor is alive. I think he's probably a lot crazier and insane, because he was definitely corrupted by staying in the Quintess's field or whatever. And Haggard has the technology and everything to create this kind of weird robots and everything. So it seems like they're probably working together. At least that's my assumption, unless Lotor did die, which I can't really doubt. So this is going to lead us to the final season, which is going to be season 8, which comes out later this year, which is going to suck. I hope it gets a new season. So two things that I want to talk about. Shiro, his new robotic arm. I don't like it. I mean, it's kind of cool, but I'm not a fan of those weird kind of floating arms where it's not attached to your body. It's just kind of floating next to you. You can kind of send it out. Those things just kind of weird me out. It's cool, but I'm just like, I want an arm that's attached, or at least I would. And that Admiral, was she an Admiral or a General? Sanda, I think Admiral Sanda, I can't remember her name. Of course, there's always someone in the government who tries to screw over the heroes. Like, she's like, oh, I'm not going to listen to you guys, even though you have all the experience, and I'm going to go or tell the bad guys and make a deal with them, and of course I'm going to get betrayed and screw over everyone in the process. She ends up redeeming herself, which is kind of good, a little bit of a turn. Usually these people are cowards or are out for themselves and they die trying to run away or something like that. But she actually was trying to save the people, but it pissed me off when she betrayed them all. I was like, seriously? You've just been pissing me off this entire season. So that's pretty much the season. It was very enjoyable, very fun. Like I said, I love a lot of the new stuff they introduced at the end, like the new fighter pilots. I thought they were going to pilot the vehicle Voltron from the old Voltron series, but maybe they will in the last season, who knows. But it was very cool that the Atlas transformed. Like I said, I didn't see that coming. I'm just like, when Shiro is on there and he does the little thing with the crystal to transform it, I was like, what the heck? And like, because they definitely didn't program it in. It kind of like came to Shiro's mind and it just transformed. But it was very cool transformation. Now I love it when it just came down with his giant fist from space. It was very awesome. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Like I said, it was a fun, good season. I definitely recommend you go watching it if you haven't watched it yet. There's a lot more stuff that I didn't talk about, but I talked about the majority of things, or the stuff that I was kind of interested in. And I can't wait to watch the final season. We're finally going to see the end of this show, which is going to be sad. I've really been enjoying it. I kind of hope it gets a sequel series. I think that'd be very fun. Maybe something not too epic or crazy. Like, this season was very calmer than the last one. It wasn't like, hey, we have to save the universe. It was very personal to the Paladins. Like, hey, we have to save our planet and everything, which is something I did enjoy, because Hunk, he got some good character development, which he hasn't in a while, or he had some good character moments at least. And we got to see them, what they're fighting for, and it was very fun, very personal. So it's something I enjoyed. So hopefully if they make a new series, it's maybe something on a smaller scale, a little bit more personal. I think that would be fun. Anyway, I'm blabbering now. Thank you for watching. What did you think of this season? If you watched it, if you haven't, like I said, go check it out. And what do you hope happens in the final season? What do you want them to do? You know, introduce more robots, great epic battles? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out. Hey, if you like this video, we have several other awesome videos you can check out. And again, thanks for watching.